Hey, Zaggard here. I just wanted to let you know this is a full review of Wonder Woman 1984. Don't worry, we won't be going into spoilers for the first 19 minutes. But once those 19 minutes are up, if you stay, you will get spoiled. Understand? We will go into spoilers after 19 minutes. Got it? Good, let's get this party started.
Hello, everybody. I'm the Mythology Guy.
I'm Zaggard.
I'm just Claire. I don't have a stage name.
Nice. So that's just
yet.
Claire. I don't have a stage name.
Well, my stage name is Claire Young.
If you're
Where can we find you?
wondering why my hair is fizzy right now, it's because we're emanating the 80s.
Yeah.
Guys, yeah, 80s.
We just
Wonder
watched
Woman.
it. We just watched Wonder Woman 84.
You'll never guess what we just watched. That's right, Stranger Things. No, sorry, It. No,
That's
freaking
right.
every other movie that's come out in the past few years.
Gone with the Wind. What? I was trying to think of like un-80s completely. And not
Anyway,
new.
we saw Wonder Woman 84. Did
was-
we? Because what the heck did we just
had an
watch?
experience.
We saw
I
a
would
Wonder
say.
Woman film, plus a Hallmark film, plus a film about a thing.
No, it's
Plus,
only
like,
it's
a
only a
weird
Hallmark
80s
film for
Plus,
like a few minutes.
What was that film you
Yeah.
referenced? The one with Jim Carrey and the
Bruce Almighty.
Yeah, plus
Bruce Almighty. Yes,
Yeah, we watched
actually.
Wonder Woman plus Bruce Almighty plus a Hallmark movie.
I'll give the movie this.
Accurate.
All the things I was expecting, didn't expect any of this.
Yeah.
It did subvert our
At all.
expectations. I don't know about in a good way.
The
but it
overall
was
plot, I
interesting.
don't think I've ever seen before in a movie.
No.
Like, this
Yeah.
movie has two villains. I'm not going to ruin who they are. If you've seen the trailer, you probably know who one of them is, but I'm just going to say there's a male villain and a female villain. That's how we'll call them male villain and female
Yeah,
villain.
yeah.
Male villain is a type of villain I don't think I've ever seen a
No.
villain who uses this kind of power this way.
Very true.
And he's actually really interesting.
Yeah.
And the best part of the film, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
He is really fun. He is the plot.
I'm sure some people might get upset. They'll be like, hey, what? The male villain is better? Like, why do you like the male villain more than Wonder Woman? Hey, don't blame me. Blame the writer.
Yeah, the
Like,
movie
It's not my fault. Okay?
Yeah.
I went into this ready to love Wonder Woman. I loved the first Wonder Woman film. Wonder Woman kind of gets lowballed in this movie.
She kind of
little
feels
bit.
a little
She's-
bit like a supporting character.
She
in a
really
sense.
feels like it really feels like male villain is the main character here.
Who, yeah, I would say that. That's why I think I don't speak for you guys entirely, because I think I liked it a little more than you guys both.
I think
but
you
it's
did.
very much a mixed bag, I would say. There's a lot of problems, but there's some good stuff. But you guys seem to have more problems.
I think we do. And one thing that I've said to you guys is, like, we spent a lot of this movie, like, we were trying to, like, find ways to justify things or finding theories. But then, one thing I ended up realizing, I was like, no, we shouldn't have to keep justifying everything.
Yeah.
There should not be so many moments of this movie where we're going, well, maybe this.
Yeah,
well, maybe
if this
that.
means
Well, what if
this?
this is going to happen? Or what if this happened? Or, you know what? Here's what I think. No, once or twice is okay, but I swear we did that at least 10 times during this film.
You
Yeah.
shouldn't have to explain, like, a bunch of plot points just
It
to
was basically-
justify
Like,
making
even
sense.
if you, like, I think I was the one bitching the most, and you two kept saying, like, maybe this, maybe that. And look,
Yeah.
even if everything you guys said was right, you shouldn't have to constantly
There's little-
give the movie excuses.
There's literally even a part where the film itself, straight up in the dialogue, says, "Is that how it works? Oh well, I'll just go with it."
That's true. And a movie obviously shouldn't have to spell it out for you, but it also shouldn't have to make you theorize this
Yeah.
much about
Film theory is gonna have a field day with this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Or they won't. They probably won't know.
They'll
what to do.
probably just be like, I ain't touching that with a 10-foot pole.
10-foot theoretical
Oh
pole.
my gosh. This was a weird movie.
It was
this was
definitely
a
weird.
really
like the
weird
80s.
movie.
So I guess they were going, if they're trying to make it weird like the 80s, they succeeded.
All the marketing
But-
for this movie has said 80s. We're gonna be so 80s. So the poster is just a big rainbow W golden
Yeah.
armor 80s. Look at the trailer. We're showing like in an arcade font 80s. There's almost none of that.
Yeah.
There's
wasn't
so
really,
little of that in this film.
it was in the 80s, but it wasn't a huge plot point. Not that it has
The
to
wasn't
be.
important.
takes place in the 80s. At one point, we see someone wear a jazzercise outfit. And I think that's it.
And then
Well,
she's
the mall.
showing
That was
Steve
significant. Yeah,
around.
yeah, they go into a mall at one point, but they're
In the
barely there.
Yeah, well, it's the
That
setup
was a
for the
cheesy
film.
scene. I think
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
in a good way.
Yeah.
There was like first movie. Obviously, you set the movie in that time because it's during World War One. The whole story is around that.
About Ares,
I-
yeah.
Nightshade.
You could have. Oh, the cat's being
The
a little
cat's
weird.
just being a nuisance.
because I don't want her bumping against.
Okay.
I can
Okay,
edit
we
this.
interrupt.
Yeah, that's fine.
Our-
Yeah, it's fine. I don't think people care. This movie, you could have set this movie in modern day. Story would have gone exactly the same.
Yeah, it would have
Yeah.
been the same film with the same characters, the same plot. I don't know why it had to be 84. I think they just.
I really
why
think it's
84
the. Honestly,
exactly?
it reeks a little to me of them just trying to cash in. Maybe I'm
80s thing?
cash in on all this 80s love that's going on right now.
Because it's a nostalgic decade at the moment.
Yeah, it really is. And
Which after watching this movie, I don't know why it's a nostalgic decade.
I don't
It's
know
just 80s have
what's
been
going
popular
on
for
here.
a while.
I like the 80s too, but I want
I don't
like
like it
have
that
a
much.
reason to be set in the 80s. Like the reason they have Stranger Things set in the 80s is because the whole vibe of that show has an 80s
Yeah.
feel to it. And the reason
And
it
go
is
back
set
to
in the
80s
80s is
movies.
because the sequel takes place in modern day, so you have to be 27 years earlier.
Wait.
So
Oh, wait. What?
the first It movie
Oh, okay.
takes place in the 80s because the sequel took
27
place in a
years
more modern year. So the first one had to take place like 27 to 30
Yeah.
years earlier. That stuff made sense. This movie did not need to take place in the 80s. There are a few 80s, like maybe 3 80s related jokes that actually made me laugh, but other than that,
Probably
I don't-
so. It's like they were like jokes, and it wasn't very important. It wasn't important to the story. Like it could have been set in any time.
Actually, there is one thing that was
the greed of corporate America.
no. There was one thing that was actually important to the plot, but that goes into spoilers.
oh, I can't wait to hear this.
Yeah, and I just remembered it, and it's like kind of a thing, but also you could have done without it. So
Yeah. So I think.
Yeah, we're doing no
just gonna give
spoilers
our-
right now. We'll do spoilers after.
We'll mark it when. We're
Yeah,
gonna go into
we'll
spoilers.
mark when we go into spoilers.
Do you guys want to give your quick opinions? 'Cause we
I'm just-
definitely had a lot of mixed feelings.
We do need to just while we're in spoiler free, let's just address this movie is really silly sometimes.
Very
it goes
silly.
really just you're gonna have to be ready for that. I wasn't totally ready for that. This movie goes really over the top.
Which again,
like-
they were going for that
and
80s kind of
it-
feel.
yeah,
But I think it
Yeah,
got to the
but
point
it's-
where it was too.
This
much.
doesn't feel like a superhero film overall. It does
I think it
not to
does.
me anyway.
It feels like a superhero film, but not a Wonder Woman film.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
would you? Okay, so even if it overall feels like a superhero film, though, would you say that most of the scenes felt like they belonged in a superhero film?
No.
Yeah,
Just
see,
no.
that's kind
I'd
of
have
what
to
I
take
mean.
Yeah,
some
I see
time to
what you're
think
saying.
about
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it feels like it has superhero film parts, but it, like I said when we were watching it, this could have been a Doctor Strange film, and I would not have been confused at
It
all.
makes
been
yeah, and we'll
any
get into that in
superhero, I
spoilers. But yeah, like this film, I think they were experimenting a little here. I think they were trying some new stuff and trying to make
And some
trying
of
to
the
be
stuff
original.
works.
And I do respect it for that.
Yeah.
Like some of it worked, but like I don't think it works as a Wonder Woman sequel.
It does
I
not.
don't think it does at all.
I agree.
Honestly.
The Wonder Woman's original had such a specific vibe to it, such a certain feel, and this film,
And it was so Wonder Woman.
yeah,
the
it
first
literally
film.
goes like, this is the first film, like here, and the second film starts like that, and then it just kind of goes off on its own thing,
Thank you for
like the
visual aid.
80s.
Yeah, the tone is kind of. There's one point
Like
where
the 80s.
like Wonder Woman like as she's like saving someone, she like winks at another person.
Yeah, that was
You
a
remember
little-
that was near the start, and I was like, oh, the only thing I appreciate that is I was like, oh, thanks for doing that early. It's gonna be this kind of film.
Yeah, it does kind of give you. Yeah, it's literally the first big action scene, and if you don't understand the tone of the film from that scene,
Her outfit is so shiny in this film.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they touched it up with a little CGI or something.
I think
That's
they
what it
did.
looks
The
like.
80s and sleek and
Yeah,
shiny.
the 80s. We gotta be shiny as hell.
Colorful.
Speaking of CGI, the rope looks way
Oh,
more fake in this
yeah,
film.
the rope.
The lasso.
The
of truth.
lasso doesn't look as good as before. I don't know what happened there. And by the way, the lasso of truth is now just the Monkey King's staff because it can extend to any length it needs to get to. Not only that, but split into two ropes and tie up two people at once. I don't even know how.
I don't know.
They gave the lasso of truth like 3 different new powers in this, and I don't know. They did one really silly, stupid thing, but it did end up in something I kind of wanted, so I don't mind it too much. I think you know what I'm talking about. Like,
If I don't, you'll tell me.
yeah, I will.
Yeah. I think we definitely had a lot of issues,
this movie's silly. This movie's over the top. It doesn't feel, most of it doesn't feel like a superhero movie.
Fun?
It doesn't work as a Wonder Woman sequel. I had a little fun.
Okay.
But mainly I just enjoyed the journey of the male villain. I kind of wish it had just been a movie about him. Honestly, if this was just a standalone movie about everything that guy goes through, I think it could have worked on its own, especially because near the end, I'm not going to spoil stuff, but I will say they shoehorn in like some weird backstory for him just out of nowhere, and I feel like that could have been better spread throughout the film.
maybe.
If the film was just about him and they would flash back to that occasionally. It was all thrown in at once out of nowhere, and
we were
really
like, oh,
weird.
Is that him as a child?
When we got there, I was like, I guess we're in another movie now. And,
it really did kind of feel like another movie.
Yeah, it felt like the tone kept switching. The movie couldn't decide which thing it wanted to be about. It was kind of weird.
And it was doing all of them like at a decent level, but that made the whole film kind of go down a notch.
There's a mid-credits scene with a pretty cool cameo, but I don't think there was an after-credits scene.
If there was, we didn't see it.
If there was, it didn't show it on HBO Max, I can tell you.
I didn't finish the credits.
You didn't?
No.
Oh. Never mind. There's a mid-credits scene, and we don't know about the after-credits.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't want to sit there and wait.
Honestly, I care so little. I don't know if I'll watch them at all anyway. But okay, like let's just what would we give this movie out of 10? First, I call freaking Blood of Zeus a movie. Now I call this a game.
Love it.
What would we give this out of 10? Because right now I'm sitting at a question mark out of 10.
Question mark out of 10. What just happened?
5 or a 6 for me.
I give it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm
like, if you like the last Wonder Woman film and you like, I guess
I wouldn't even say if you like the last Wonder Woman film, because this really doesn't work out as
Aquaman.
Maybe if you liked Aquaman, but I loved Aquaman.
Aquaman, so that's null and void.
If Aquaman was not too silly for you, if you felt like I would have enjoyed it even if it was sillier, you might like this.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, I saw someone post a while ago, it's like, people who don't like Wonder Woman 84 forgot that all superhero movies are like that. I'm like, no.
That's not true.
No, now that I've seen it, I can say that is BS. Yeah. All superhero movies are... I've never seen a superhero like this in my life.
I can agree with you there. I have never seen
I have never seen a superhero movie like this in my life.
That makes me wonder... What did they think the last film was like? Because the last film was very grounded, kind of, even for a superhero film.
And an interesting fact for anyone who doesn't know, and I heard this a little before seeing the film. So the writer of this was also the director. She directed the first film, Patty Jenkins. She didn't write the first film, though. So it's probably like
a little bit of cheesiness in the dialogue.
It really shows that this is not the same writer. So, I mean, I guess the direction is similar enough, which makes sense, I guess. I think she's more of a director than a writer. But it's weird because there are some things she wrote. So here's I'm really torn on my out of 10, because if the movie was just about the male villain, I would probably give this like an 8 or a 9. I loved his story. Yeah. But if I was grading this as a Wonder Woman sequel, I would probably give this a 3 or a 4, because below average.
That's why I gave it a 5 or a 6, because it's like there are some elements that were really good.
When you mix the things that do work really well versus the things that don't work, which really don't work, it probably does average out to a 5.
The weirdest thing is that Wonder Woman herself is not bad.
No, she's not bad. Gal Gadot knows how to play the character.
And there's
Steve Trevor, not bad.
That's in the trailer, so I guess that's not a spoiler.
Yeah, it's literally in the first.
She has great chemistry with Steve Trevor in both films.
Yeah, like those two characters are not bad. It really doesn't feel like their movie, which is weird.
I want to like lower it to a 4, because I feel like the silliness might bring it down a little, but then again, it is a little fun because of this. I'm just gonna say 5.
She has one good scene, and my problem with that scene is we didn't have enough time to like kind of work through it. It just goes, you have to do this thing, and she's like, I don't want to, and then it's like, you do.
Yeah, but she was fighting. That's what you have to do in war.
Oh,
I think he's talking about in this movie.
I know.
Oh, well, you said war. I thought you meant the first.
Not literal war.
We'll get into this.
I'm talking about right before the scene with the last one on the cloud.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, she had to go off and fight, is what I mean.
I guess. But it didn't...
I think that was... I'm kind of with Claire here, because she had to, like, push herself away from that in order to, like... Because if you stall, you're not going to be able to handle it. I guess,
but for me, it just felt like it just went...
Well, to be fair,
I'm not saying you couldn't do it. It just
yeah.
I needed more of a moment to kind of digest
I
it.
thought it was a great scene.
Kristen
personally.
Wiig is in this movie. I think she does a good enough job. Like
She does a good
I like
job, but
Kristen
the
Wiig.
character
She's
is
got
kinda
good.
weird.
The character is weird, but for what I'm sure she was told to do, I think she pulled it off
Yeah.
well.
There's just a lot of mixed things that I like. Things I like, things I didn't.
I know.
It's
It's
like
such a mixed bag.
This movie is a bag of trail
There's
mix.
so much going on in this film.
It's trail mix. This is
It
trail
really
mix
is
the movie.
trail mix.
Yeah.
Like it's like you got to get past all that stuff you don't want to get to those.
You gotta
M&Ms.
get the raisins out.
And the M&Ms aren't even the star of the show.
Oh,
People
yeah,
are like, "Come
yeah.
on, don't you want the no? I want the M&Ms." All right, so yeah, basically summed up, this is an over-the-top, silly, mixed bag. Doesn't work well as a Wonder Woman sequel, but works well in other areas movie that I would
Works
call
well as a movie,
over-
sort of.
that I would call that we would say, I guess, averages out to a 5 out of 10. Are we
Yeah.
all at that?
I said 6, just because there was just some moments where it's like, okay, I know some of these things don't make sense, but I just didn't care. Some of it I thought was just good. Like I was like, I'm feeling this. I don't
Claire
know.
liked it the most, and
Yeah.
Wonder Woman, you're a woman. Hey, target
I
audience.
also
There we go.
like
Maybe
love
that's
Gal
why.
Gadot as this
And
character.
Gal Gadot is great as
She's
this
so good.
I just
character. I
gotta
just don't
say-
think she has enough to work with
I
here.
Yeah.
wonder what woman would like this film from.
That's why it's called
84.
Wonder Woman. Yeah, we
Yeah, you
wonder
didn't like it 'cause
what
you're
the
men.
heck happened
Kidding.
between movies.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay,
But
well,
like we said, it's not a bad film.
it's not. I don't hate it.
just nowhere near as good as the last
know
one.
if I like or dislike it. I don't know. I don't think I would
I
watch it
think you need more time to
again.
digest it because we just watched
It's
it.
really weird. It's really weird.
There are some movies
If
I
the-
will say though, like you can kind of dissect everything you didn't like about it, but if you go away feeling good and you just got that nice feeling in your tummy, not tummy, and like like people had a lot of issues with Frozen 2, but I loved Frozen 2, and I don't really care that there was issues.
I know
That's
you
how I
two liked
felt.
Frozen 2.
Yeah.
I hated Frozen 2.
Oh, I know,
But that's a
just
that's a
how I
conversation
felt.
for
That's
a
a
whole other day.
Whole nother day right there.
Yeah.
I think we should.
I like to dissect movies. I'm critical about movies, but for this one, I was just like, what?
Well, since you like to
No.
dissect it, I think we should move on and
But-
Yeah.
dissect it with spoilers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we're
think
gonna
we
spoilers.
all pretty much gave our opinions, and I think we summed it up pretty well. So
Without saying
if you
specific
already have HBO Max, sure, check it out. I
Yeah,
wouldn't say
but
get
don't-
HBO Max just for this
I
film.
don't think so. Fine, use someone's password. If you
Yeah,
wanna
if
watch
you
it.
have a friend who watch the movie with friends, don't watch it alone.
I mean, if you're as long as they're in your bubble during COVID times.
Oh yeah,
It's weird,
yeah.
this is
never
our
mind.
bubble.
I don't know.
realized- you know what I mean.
There's enough good elements to
Yeah.
this movie to be worth a watch. If you already have HBO, that's what I
Yeah.
would say.
And
Like
if you're
it's
not-
worth your time. I wouldn't say it's worth joining the subscription service just for it, though.
I agree.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to turn your brain off, but also some things just like you've turned your brain off too much, so it depends
Yeah,
on your
my
level.
brain was knocking on the door like, "Hello, no, you will not keep me locked out during stuff like this."
I guess I could just forgive the things that I knew were like didn't
A
make
bit
sense.
too far.
Yeah,
The
I guess
stuff
I could
at
just
the end-
forgive it because other stuff was really
Stuff
good.
at the end was just.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
the end
Literally-
it
Yeah.
kind of fell apart during
It
certain
literally
parts.
did
Anyway.
fall apart.
Which we cannot
Yeah.
talk about. But
Yeah,
just
but we
before
will.
we go into spoilers, I'm just going to establish this is mythology related. Wonder Woman is a Greek mythological character, and there's actually some more mythological
There
stuff that happens.
is.
More than I was expecting.
Yeah.
So this is definitely myth related. So that's
and there
why
was
we're
one
talking
DC
about
universe thing neither of us were expecting. We were like, oh, okay.
Yeah, well,
Oh yeah.
The thing in
Yeah.
Egypt.
Yeah, exactly. So, this is myth related. Those are our opinions on the film. If you've already seen the film and you love it or you hate it, feel free to tell us why. Maybe there's stuff we didn't even notice. Like, let us know.
Yeah.
All right, we are gonna go into spoilers now.
Yes.
So
Spoiler warning.
Spoiler warning.
That's how you know. Okay.
Okay, that's your warning. The main
Spoilers.
villain is Maxwell Lord, played by the Mandalorian, the one, the only Pedro Pascal.
He is having a ball in this.
Yeah, he
role.
literally. I love to party.
There's a scene where he goes, "I like to party." I need a
full
gif of this
Carlton.
immediately. that is, yes, Carlton. I was trying to place this whole time. Where have I seen those dance moves before?
I bet he loves Fresh Prince.
That's
I'll just say that.
fantastic. Oh my god.
That was really funny.
His performance in this film was amazing.
So
was
Pedro
great.
Pascal, something they didn't ruin it in the trailers what exactly happens, and I'm grateful for that because I didn't see this coming. So there's basically a wishing stone in this movie.
That is the main plot.
That is the plot. The plot is wishing stone, and like you make a wish on the stone, it grants your wish, but there's always a price. It
Like
does
a
something
genie.
bad.
Be careful what you
And
wish
then
for.
Wonder Woman wishes
By
accidentally wishes for Steve Trevor to come back, and that's how he's back in this movie. For everyone who watched the trailer and went, "How the hell?" Well, now you know.
Yeah,
he
that's
comes
what he's
back,
doing.
but here's the funny thing. He doesn't fully come back. His spirit comes back possessing another man.
Yeah,
And
he literally takes over this guy's body.
this man into Steve Trevor, and the whole time. But here's the thing: the price for Wonder Woman's wish is she loses her powers as a result.
Right.
They start.
They get weaker.
They lessen. It's never
longer
fully.
he's
It's
around.
weird because there's a scene where she is having so much trouble breaking a lock, but then there's another scene where she can push a whole truck tank without too much
you don't
effort.
really see
It's
much scratch.
really. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just
It's a
saying,
little inconsistent.
It's inconsistent. You don't really understand like the slow progression to losing her powers. It's just like she can't do this, then suddenly she can't do this, but she can do this. That
But
makes
she
her
can
even
break
stronger.
a gun with her
it's-
hand.
It's
Yeah.
like a remote control that the battery has a little juice left, and you
Yeah.
gotta. Oh, now it works perfectly.
That's how it feels.
Exactly. She's like a battery that you're not sure if it still has juice in it or not.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: the big conflict is like, so one of the things is you can renounce your wish will go away and the price will go away too. And the big question is, do I renounce my wish to get my powers back? Do I want my powers back? I'm thinking this whole movie, I'm thinking, you've stolen an innocent man's life. Steve Trevor's soul is possessing this poor man's body. Do we not care about whoever the hell this guy is? This
Yeah,
innocent guy whose body is being possessed?
I agree.
They
They
nev-
looked over that
They
a lot.
don't even address it.
They really
never even say anything about how this is a bad thing. They're just in his apartment. They're like, "Huh, looks like this guy likes that." Yeah, this guy who is a person.
Dude, you took over his life.
Our heroes, ladies and gentlemen.
Da-da-da-da.
That's like being something like being possessed by supernatural when they get possessed by demons.
It's
like,
so
no,
weird.
not the same
It's
thing.
like, my God, Wonder Woman, hello.
Yeah, that was a little weird. That was a little.
I mean, but if you put that aside, I do understand why it's hard for her to
course.
give up
Yeah.
Steve. Like, some people, here's the thing: you can easily pick up parts. Like, oh, she only knew him for 4 days. Come on, but you always remember your first love, and not only that, he's technically the first man she ever slept with.
literally the only man she's ever loved.
He's
or
the
slept
first
with.
man she met. You know, it's
Yeah.
like the man who turned a lot.
Oh yeah,
So
he
like
washed up on the shore.
you can even though it's a little silly, like you can't argue it's like Disney princess. She is a princess. It's like Disney princess, but also like it's like I'll give them it. It's fine, and they have
Yeah.
great chemistry together. They have legit
Yeah.
good chemistry.
And I will they were trying to figure out how he got into this man's body. It wasn't like they were just like, oh well,
Yeah, but
everything's
once
great
they
now.
figured
forget
it out, they didn't care.
She was trying. Yeah, she couldn't let him go, I guess. And I will say that you thought it was kind of fast, what you were saying before.
Oh, yeah, when
but
she gives it up.
Yeah, but I thought it was a beautiful scene, and I really liked it.
I liked the scene.
I didn't think it
I didn't
wasn't
like what
beautiful.
happened immediately after.
I didn't think it wasn't beautiful. I just wanted like a little more time dedicated to it, like 10 more seconds of showing something. It just kind of felt like I renounced my wish.
Yeah, but you
she
could
had to
see
move.
you
Had to
like
move. She couldn't
the
look at him in
thing.
the arms.
Yeah,
She
the
wanted
thing.
to turn
The thing
away.
with it was like he talked to her for a couple minutes at least before it happened, and you could see her because she just like pushed herself
Yeah,
away
she
and like ran
literally
off because
had
it's like
to,
I
for
can't.
sure.
If I spend one more second here, I'm not going to be able.
Well, like
to
I
give
said,
you
I don't
up.
think it's a bad scene. I just
Yeah,
wanted a little more. Like,
get it.
It's
yeah.
like chocolate. I don't hate chocolate. I just want more.
Okay.
Okay. So, yeah, and Kristen Wiig, who is Cheetah in this movie, she wishes to be like Diana, Wonder Woman.
But she doesn't know Diana.
She
is
doesn't
one.
know Diana is Wonder Woman.
And how
she
do
just
other
knows
people
Diana
know-
is gorgeous and everything
Here's
else.
the thing.
Oh, yeah, big plot
Okay,
hole.
this was pissing me off since the trailers because they were like, it's Wonder Woman 1984. In Batman v Superman, when Batman meets Diana, Wonder Woman, for the first time, he's like, where have you been? I saw you pictures of you in World War I, but then you weren't anywhere else for hundreds of years or whatever.
Like it was, right. It wouldn't have been hundreds of years because World War I was 19. You haven't been anywhere else since. Whatever, yes, it's been 80 years.
For almost 100 years. And then this movie's in 84. It's like, wait, she must have been doing something then. And then it's like, okay, maybe she was doing stuff that nobody saw.
Yeah, and at first I tried to justify it. I was
first scene, she's jumping around in a mall.
In a mall for everyone to see. And they're like, this is another in many sightings. And I'm like, so what? And I was justifying it at first. I was like, maybe people don't know. Oh, it's her. Maybe she was, like, not seen. But as the movie went on and on, I was like, never mind. Like,
yeah, literally. She's lasso of truth the whole planet.
She talks to literally everyone in the world at one point. And it gets more and more. First she's screwing around in malls, then we find out she's been sighted in multiple places, then she's in other countries, then she's in the White House, and then she literally talks to the whole world.
Yeah,
the way she does that, by the way, is so
oh god, we'll get to that.
It was so sci-fi.
It was so sci-fi, and
it's 80 cheesy sci-fi.
The only explanation for why everyone knew about her was just that they're negating what happened. I'm guessing.
Yeah, everybody just forgot.
I don't know.
No. Batman v Superman just didn't happen.
Like what's that? What movie?
We forgot.
Yeah, I don't want to remember that. I mean, I never watched it, but I heard it's terrible.
So yeah, Kristen Wiig, who is the nerd who nobody notices.
She's
that movie gorgeous person that nobody ever notices
when she's really cute,
who's absolutely adorable.
I'm gonna be honest
funny.
with you.
At one point, Diana's like, "You are so funny," and they cut to that, and I'm like, "No, what did she say? I want to hear the."
They just cut to her laugh.
A comedian. They didn't want to have her make a joke before. She said,
no. A famous comic actress don't make actual jokes in the movie. We'll just cut to you apparently being fun. I love Kristen Wiig.
I do too. I love her in everything. Well,
it was also hard to believe that Kristen Wiig was unpopular, because she is like, okay, when they first show her, she is so cute and gorgeous, and then there's this part where she drops some papers and she's trying to pick them up, and these two guys walk up and they're just like, and they just walk away with their coffee cups. I'm like,
you know how men are.
Yeah,
and thankfully this isn't one of those films where it's just like men are bad.
It's not that. It's just
it's supposed to be like showing that nobody really pays attention to her. Because literally the next scene, a woman walks up to her and it's like, have you heard of this person?
I'm standing right here next to you. We've spoken multiple times.
You hired me. It's like, how do you forget someone you've had more than one interview?
I don't know, but it's just part of this movie being silly.
Yeah,
this movie is very silly, and so she wishes to be more like Diana because Diana is gorgeous and everyone loves her.
Because Gal Gadot is perfect.
She's amazing.
It's funny how at one point she's like, I don't go to those events. I'm not into that attention. And then she walks up in the most like glamorous dress, like with her leg and everything, and she's just walking up, and I'm just like, I do not want this attention, guys.
Don't look at me.
Don't look.
No, please, no autographs.
No autographs.
It's just
no
funny.
pictures. No pictures.
No, please. Like, I do not want this attention.
To be fair, the reason she's there is
she is there to investigate, but you'd think she'd be a little more subtle if she's just because every time someone tries to talk to her, she's like, no, don't talk to me.
It was like a red carpet
you look like freaking Lady Gaga. What are you doing?
What? Yeah, again, she looks amazing.
Yeah.
And it's like, shut up. You're gonna wear that dress and look that beautiful. I'm kidding.
No, like,
I'm kidding.
Yeah, but it's just kind of funny how she's going there to be discreet and she's wearing the most eye-catching.
Well, anyways, we should now get to the main plot. Pedro Pascal, a Maxwell Lord.
So he takes the wish stone, and his wish is to. Because everyone thinks he's the most successful businessman, but he's failing in everything.
He's trying to be an oil baron, but all the places he owns has no oil.
They have no oil, yeah. Like, he bought all the places everyone else passed on because he thought, oh, yeah, I'll get all these places. Something will happen. Nothing happened. Yeah. And so, like, now people are calling in debts. And he has a son, and his son loves him, but he's worried, like, he doesn't want to disappoint his son.
The son is only acting.
His character is actually really good. It's really relatable. I thought he was going to be when he was introduced, I thought he was going to be a cartoony mustache twirling villain. He's the most humane person in this film.
Humane.
Humane.
Is that right?
Isn't that what I said?
No, humane. Is that how you say it? Not just human?
Well, human and humane are two different words.
Yeah. Never mind. Anyway.
Humane has an E at the end.
Let's cut that out.
Let's get you a dictionary.
Yeah, let's get you an encyclopedia.
No, but like when I hear humane, I think like, oh, that's not the humane way to do something. So my brain just
Okay, well, either way.
Close
So
it
yeah,
out.
he's very well fleshed out. He has a real character here and a really legit arc.
He starts off pretty down to earth, but then he really goes off the rails.
Yeah, so he makes a wish. Like I think he's gonna wish for his oil or riches or something. But of course, he's the villain. If he wishes for oil, his story is done. So he wishes to become the Wish Stone.
Which was, we were both like, whoa, that's
We were like,
pretty...
well, you're really jumping the gun here, buddy. And so then the actual stone disintegrates and he gains the power to... He basically becomes a genie. Like, you touch him, you make a wish, he grants your wish, and since he's the stone now, he gets to pick what your price is, and the price is always he'll just take something from you.
He just wants
like,
everything.
he goes up to someone and he's like, hey, what do you wish for? Well, I wish that this sex tape of me would disappear. Great, but in return, I'm taking all of your oil.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally...
Which is smart of him to do.
Yeah, he starts doing that. The first
Yeah.
person he does that to is a guy who said he didn't he was gonna try and sue him with the CI who's the IRS.
Stag, yeah.
He was
The
gonna try
IRS.
and report him to the IRS that he's a fake company and that he's stealing all these shares. And then so he goes there and he's like, I am here to apologize. And he's like, don't you wish that the company could have done good? Of course I wish it could.
And so, of course, that'll make it seem true. Great. And in return, I'm taking all of your shares, all of your
And then
stock.
literally as he's walking out, all of a sudden the IRS comes in. They're like,
And they come in for the other guy.
we're arresting him
yeah.
for taxes. Are you involved with this note? Then get out of here. And he's like, oh,
Yeah,
yes.
happily, I'm out of here.
And it's actually pretty funny. He like starts
It's-
walking up to people
yeah,
like, don't you wish this?
He's
and then-
actually, he's like a
smart.
trickster. It's fun to
Yeah,
see.
very low-key,
And
yes.
and that ties in really well because we find out later, and this is the more mythology stuff, that wish stone was actually created by a Mayan trickster god.
That's
A god
right,
of
it's
The
lies.
god of lies, the god of
Yeah.
trickery and deceit. So literally, like, he created this stone to make people think they were getting good things, but he was actually screwing them over.
That's
So
right.
yeah. So I like that. I like how Pedro Pascal is basically mirroring that kind of behavior.
Yeah, and he did like a lot of research on the stone before, like he was looking for it
Oh
for a
yeah, so
while.
apparently he found out everything about
Yeah,
it,
so
and
that's how
he
he knew to
even
do this.
uses trickery and deceit to get the stone in the first place. Like he's
Yeah.
already that kind of person, and the stone just like brings that out even more. He's
Yeah.
kind of the perfect guy to get it, and his story is it's really cool to see him use
Yeah.
trickery to get what he wants and influence people's wishes and take prices and see how those wishes come to be. Like I'm saying, the whole movie could have just been about that, and sometimes it feels like the whole movie is just
Yeah.
about that because we keep focusing on him and we're invested. Then it cuts to Wonder Woman, and I'm like, oh right, this is a Wonder Woman movie. Like,
Yeah, that's what
She's-
kind of makes it feel.
it's really weird.
And they
honest-
mentioned for any DC fan out there, they actually mentioned the country of Bialia.
Yeah,
Just a small little-
Bialia. Yeah, DC Easter eggs. We've got Simon Stagg. We've got Bialia. We've got Max Lord.
He's
Cheetah.
like a
you know.
Cheetah was the main.
Yeah,
well,
obviously.
she seemed like she was the main villain, but it's Max.
Oh,
Lord.
and we have a invisible jet.
Oh yeah,
They look. I'm just gonna say, like, there is some justification, but I just think it's kind of stupid the way they did. But I didn't care because I wanted it. You know,
Yeah, it's
early in
fine.
the film, I was like, "You're being really silly. You're being really over the top." Does that mean we can have the invisible jet, please? Because that's a silly, over-the-top thing.
Yeah.
And I want to see it. So at one point in the film, she and Steve Trevor get into a jet because he's a pilot. He can fly it. And one problem is he figures out how to fly the jet way too easily.
yeah. Like first of all, this plane
yeah.
has no propellers. How do you know how to fly a plane with
Yeah,
no
it's
propellers?
not the same kind of plane he's used to flying, so we thought it would be funny if they inserted a scene. This would be kind of Marvel-ish, but people like Marvel. So, like, what if he's like, I know how to fly a jet, and he starts flipping things like, okay, I actually don't know how this one works. And then it just cuts to him, like, reading the manual for the
Yeah.
jet,
Yeah.
and Diane's just like, do-do-do-do-do-do.
she's bored
And
waiting for it.
then it just cuts to again.
Yeah. And then 2
Okay, I think
hours
I've got
later-
it now. That would have been funny.
Yeah, that-
would have
yeah.
been hilarious, and it would have made sense. Then it's like I believe he can fly the jet now because he read the whole manual.
Yeah,
and
it
he's
would have been
an
good-
experienced pilot. He just needs to know what's where.
Exactly. It would
Like,
have been good humor. It would have made sense for the.
I think it would have been really funny.
But they wanted it to
But
be
then the
fast.
scene ended up being funny for a different reason because it was a little too silly. Like, so they're flying, and she's like, and he's like, I can avoid anyone. And Diane's like, oh no, wait, radar exists now.
They can
They'll
see us
find
even
you
in
no
the
matter
dark.
where you go. And he goes, well, shit, Diana, what do we do? And she's like, I was thinking the invisible jet would help. Are they going to do that? But how could they possibly justify? And then she just starts concentrating.
She's
I'm
like, my father hid all of them scare. I've been trying to do it.
because her father is Zeus.
Yeah, and he's like, Were you able to pull it off? Well, not very well. I only did it once. Oh, well,
cup.
I did it with a coffee cup, and then I lost it. And...
Yeah, so apparently, since Zeus was able to make Themyscira invisible, since she's his daughter, she can make things invisible too. It's really weird. But so then she's like, I've only ever been able to do this once on a coffee cup, but then she just focuses and turns the whole jet invisible.
Which was fine with why she could do it.
I get, my brain was like jumbling. It was like, do I turn off for this or not? Like, you were really dancing around the line, in my opinion.
It just was a little too easy for her to make the jet invisible.
I gave them the leeway because I wanted the invisible jet so bad. But then it was only that one scene. They don't bring it back later.
They don't use the invisible jet again.
A little.
Yeah.
They didn't really need to.
She should have used the invisible jet to get to the villain's lair.
I don't think there was...
She learned to fly at that
Wait, where was the villain's...
Remember, she ends up flying to the villain's lair with the armor or whatever. Like,
well, that wasn't his lair.
That was like...
that was where he was...
That was the thing.
If we're talking about this like a superhero movie, that's currently the villain lair.
Yeah, but like, it wasn't his lair
to get
yet
to
at
the
that
place
point.
she needed to get to. That's all.
It's a thing. We'll get to that. So then they're flying.
There was no fight with the invisible jet. I wanted that.
Yeah. How would you have done it?
I have no idea, but I want have some sort of wish where somebody summons a being. You have the ability to make wishes.
I just wanted them to float in the air like in SpongeBob with Mermaid Man and Barnacle.
Well,
that would have been way.
That's
way
what
too cheesy.
I wanted the original comic Invisible Jet where they were just sitting there and the plane is invisible.
Yeah.
I love that. Would have, but it would have been worse. It
But
been
the movie, like, even
top.
if that, like, was that was incredibly silly, but I gave it a pass.
Yeah.
There were things I did not give a pass to. Things like she like in the scene after she gives up Trevor, she jumps super high, which is fine, but then there's a plane like at least a mile above her, and she just throws the
more than a mile. It's like 100 miles.
Yeah, and she throws the lasso, and it reaches all the way to the plane. I'm like, what in the hell?
Yeah.
Why was getting to anything in this movie ever a problem? Like the scene with the car chase, why don't you just throw the lasso all the way to the one in the very front and yank it back to this? It ruins the whole thing.
Yeah.
And the lasso has so many new powers. Like, it can split in two, like I said earlier. The lasso now also has the power to, if you wrap it around someone and tell them a story, they can suddenly see what happened in real time.
It doesn't just make
history.
you tell the truth. It can show you the truth.
Like I could wrap the lasso of truth around you and tell you. So there's this movie called Lord of the Rings, and suddenly in your brain the movie Lord of the Rings would start playing.
Because it is true. There is a movie called The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
There is a cool scene where they like throw a little like rocket and she throws the lasso around it and it pulls her across. There's some cool action.
Yeah, there's some really good action. But the other thing is, right after that plane scene where she grabs on the rope with the plane, she starts learning to fly.
And like the flying
it was cool.
That's fine. I kind of thought they were building that
and
up.
then she does the lasso and she grabs the lasso onto, I swear to you, a cloud.
She lassos a cloud and pulls her so far. We just threw physics out the window.
We were like, well, here's physics.
And then after that, like, you kind of justified this a little, but I'm like, no, it's too much. It's too much at once.
Yeah.
She starts lassoing lightning bolts and swinging off them like Spider-Man. And he was like, well, lightning bolts are physical things. I'm like, no, this is too much at once. I can't handle this. You already lassoed a plane from 100 miles away. Then you fly. Then you lasso a cloud. Then you lasso a lightning bolt. I need to breathe. I can't handle this much stupid all at once.
The worst thing about that is, can she fly or not?
Yeah, if you can fly, why do you need to swing?
It's not technically flying.
It's
falling with
style. Yeah, that's what I said.
Maybe that's what's happening. I don't know.
Okay, this movie
and if
broke
she can
the
fly
mythology
here,
guy.
why can't she fly in Batman v Superman and Justice League?
Because those movies didn't happen.
Yeah.
They're just gonna.
We revoked them.
Oh god. Oh god.
And
it's so weird.
DC hasn't officially revoked them, so I don't know.
Something I forgot to touch on at the beginning of the film. They show her being a kid again in like this competition with other Amazons,
adult Amazons, and she's like a 10-year-old.
Here's a problem. I was worried they were starting to like Mulan her a little, Mulan 2020 her a little. Because I totally believe Wonder Woman getting to the point where she did, like, because, like, her aunt trained her harder than anyone else. They established this in the first one. Trained her harder than anyone else. She,
Over
like,
years and
wouldn't
years
stop
of time.
training because she was so determined. I believe all of that. And also, she's a demigod, so natural powers came out, too. All of that is perfectly good. However, they did this thing now where back when she was a kid, before her training's even done, like, she's in a competition against adult, fully trained Amazons, and she's beating them kind of ridiculously easily. She gets way ahead of them and stuff, and I'm like, no, this is a little too much.
She was a little too OP.
If she was going up against kids her own age, like in her own training group, and she was way ahead of them, then I would believe that. I'd be like, it makes sense, you're training harder than they are, you're a demigod. But against, like, adults, fully trained Amazons, I think is a little too much that early in her life.
I think so, too.
I can believe if they were, like, a few years older than her, like, it still would have been cute. You could have had, like, teenage girls, and then she's, like, a little shorter, and she's still better.
She's clearly
That's
younger,
fine,
but not that
but
much
like,
younger.
if it's a difference of, like, 10 or 20 years, I think that's a little too much.
I agree, and it wasn't like all of them were trailing behind her, but she was like always in the lead from the beginning, and it just made her just seem like just too strong too quickly. Which, you know, I mean, it's not that important because it was just a flashback to show that you can't cheat life, right? Because you can't cheat and get Steve.
You have to be honest.
Yeah, it's a lesson about cheating and truth, which is I liked that because that is very Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman is all about truth and honor and love and all of that.
But I just didn't
like they did a big speech about love in the last film. This film was a big speech about truth.
Yeah, so I did like that, but I do think it was a little much.
The theme of truth ties in better in this film than the theme of love ties in better in the last film.
Yeah.
Kind of. Because the theme of, like, when she's fighting Ares in the last film and she says, I believe in love, I'm like, this doesn't seem relevant to what you're doing. Here, when she talks about truth, it makes a lot more sense. So that's one good thing.
That was great.
I gotta say that Cheetah was kind of a letdown for me.
Cheetah was a letdown for me, too. Like
she started
it's
off
so
really
confusing also how she even becomes Cheetah.
Yeah.
Like that was another thing where we were going, well maybe, because like she didn't wish to become Cheetah, she wished to gain powers, she wished to be like Diana, so she got powers like Wonder Woman has.
But not exactly like her.
Which is, it's really weird. So then later, like Pedro Pascal asks her, hey, what do you wish for? I'm thinking she already made her wish. In fact, just 5 seconds ago, she said everyone only gets one wish. But he's saying, so what's your wish? I'm feeling generous. It's like, you can give more wishes, but you've tried to do that earlier. You can't do that. So I know you're not giving more wishes. We figured maybe, like he's deciding her consequences to be another boon for her, or maybe he can give her a wish because she wished on the stone and he's technically a new stone now. Well, no. Even if that's a thing, though, you have to tell us that, movie. We can't just sit here going maybe all day.
But he did give her these bigger powers because he got, wish that was...
So, yeah.
Yeah, but, like, how can he even grant them to her,
because that's the price.
So he's adding that onto her price now?
No, he was adding that onto somebody else's
I know
price.
He was adding onto somebody else's price, but how does it affect her becoming a cheetah?
Because he gave her some of that price, which I guess that's the thing he can do.
But can he do that to anyone? It's so confusing and it's upsetting.
There's a lot of speculating.
And then another upsetting part is later in the film, when Diana and Cheetah fight, they go underwater and there's electricity hitting the water. So Diana grabs Cheetah and holds, they're both under the water, but the electricity only hurts Cheetah. Now, there are ways you can think to justify this. Oh, at this point, Diana is wearing celestial armor. Maybe electricity doesn't hurt her. No, her face is not armored at all. Why doesn't it hurt her, but it hurts Cheetah, who should have the same powers as you? Oh, well, Cheetah doesn't have the same powers as Diana. Why not? She wished to be like Diana. Did we just make her like up to the point where electricity still hurts her?
Yeah, it was
that doesn't make any sense.
The only thing that makes sense for me for that is, like, she could not be a demigod, though. Like, Wonder Woman's a demigod. She couldn't be a demigod exactly.
I mean, maybe, but
It's
Wonder Woman also gets her strength, speed, and invulnerability from being a demigod, and Cheetah had all of that too, didn't she?
I know. I'm just mean, like, it's like you can try to be like a demigod, but you can't actually be a
maybe
demigod,
that is the explanation, but even so, it's too vague in this film.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah, the problem is the film doesn't tell you. You're forced to figure it out.
It's really
yourself,
weird. And the fact that Diana just knew that would work, too.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Shouldn't this be quite a gamble? You don't know the limits
Shouldn't
of
it be I hope this works?
Yeah.
Or if after she pulled her out, just be like, Thank God that worked.
By the way, the way the villain almost wins in this is the most ridiculous thing. There's
Go ahead.
So, and here's the reason why it's still it does work into the 80s for the plot just a little bit. Remember when he meets the president?
Yeah.
He's like, "What is your wish, Mr. President?" Because it's during the Cold War.
Oh,
He's
this.
My wish is we had more nukes. If we had more nukes, we could stop them.
Yeah, because back in the 80s, there was more nuke stuff going on.
And that was believable
then,
for the president to think that then.
So that I can kind of...
But everything else...
One justification for it being in the 80s.
And then as soon as he does
But even then, there are other things you could have supplemented that with.
Yeah, but then right after that happens, he grants the wish, and then he's like... I want all your respect and authority and all your power, Mr. President. And then he's like, "What is this?" And there's like this diagram of these of the Earth. And,
should that be right there in the Oval Office?
Yeah, it was right there. It wasn't
when you have a meeting going on. And even if he didn't know the meeting was happening, once Pedro walked in, shouldn't he have said to his wife, "Hey, why don't you take those graphs out of here?"
Also,
that's kind of top secret.
Anybody can go into the Oval Office for a tour.
Exactly. Why are these in the Oval Office? This is the most top secret thing.
Yeah, it's literally satellites over the planet, and they're like, "I've been told that what it will do, it'll put radio signals out on the Earth that'll affect any sort of technology, modern and old, and then it'll be like you're out and touching them, touching the people yourself." Speaking directly to them, and he's like, "It's like you're touching them." Well, that's what I've been told, because he has to touch people to grant them wishes.
They missed so many easy opportunities for jokes, like where he goes, "I need to touch lots of people at once." You could have easily just had someone look at him like, and that would be funny. That didn't happen. So many easy opportunities.
And then he's like, "Does it even work like that? Work like that? Oh, whatever. We'll just try. And it's like
the reason he needs to do that is because he needs to grant all their wishes so that he can extract
their
price, he can gain their health and everything.
Because every time he grants a wish, he starts getting more and more
that's
sick.
where I was saying this is basically Bruce Almighty when he says yes to all the prayers at once.
But also, the world went into chaos so fast.
Yeah.
It literally went from, like, this is the 80s to this is the apocalypse.
Just the tone and the stakes and the way things are going, it doesn't feel like Wonder Woman. It really feels like its own thing. Like,
honestly,
evil genie movie.
It really, There's
and then
a lot of inconsistencies.
And then the way it ends is with her wrapping the lasso around his foot and having him see everything he's causing.
While he's broadcast to everyone on Earth. Yeah.
And I guess we can't tell if it's that he talked to her or he talked to everybody in the world.
So she wraps the lasso around him because she's trying to appeal to the good side of either him or the people watching him. And I say either because I'm not sure which she was trying to do, because she literally has her cake and eats it too with saying who she's trying to reach. She's like, wraps the lasso around him and she's like, "You need to renounce your wish." He's like, "Why would I?" And she goes, "I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to everyone else, and everyone watching him can hear what she's saying somehow, even though she's over in the corner, like, barrel."
And they broke the camera at that point.
Yeah, and so, like, and she has the lasso of truth around him, so it shows him, and it shows everyone who's watching, because I guess they're all touching him, the consequences of what's going on. But then, after she says, "I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to everyone else to rejoice their wish," then she starts directly talking to him about why he should rejoice his wish.
And then we get a bunch of backstory.
And then suddenly, flashbacks of his childhood, and his teenhood, and his adulthood, and it's like, wait, what? Out of nowhere, just shoehorned in. It's like, this would have been better if it was naturally spread more throughout the movie or something. Then you can call back to it. Like, suddenly this whole bad childhood, it's like, it feels really shoehorned. It's really weird. It feels like they shot these scenes for a different part of the movie, and then they got to the point where they're like, "Oh, we forgot to use these scenes. We gotta use them now."
Yeah, a little bit.
And then after that big climax, it's winter.
And then it's like, and then he renounces his wish. So you think, okay, everything will go back to normal now. But then after he renounces, everyone else in the world starts renouncing. It's like, what's the point of you renouncing if he already renounced? Shouldn't it already
Maybe she was talking to everyone,
happening?
including him.
Like,
she's
I don't.
It's not just
but she said she wasn't talking to him.
I know.
It would have made sense if she said, "I'm not just talking to you. I'm talking to everyone." There's such easy fixes for these problems, and it would have made more sense if everyone else started renouncing renouncing first, and then in the end he renounced. It would have made been a more natural.
If we go on this, we're just gonna talk about
I
it
know,
forever.
but it's just these are the plot holes we're talking about. These are the problems, the things where we're going. Well, maybe. We shouldn't have to keep doing that. There's so many plot holes in this film, and there's so much silliness and over the topness, and yet there are parts I still really enjoy, which is a testament to those. There is some legit good writing here, so I'm not going to call Patty Jenkins a bad writer. I'm just going to say I feel like she wasn't sure what to focus on.
She didn't know.
It feels like quite a mixed bag. Has she? I don't know if she's written before. Let me know if she's written before.
It's like she started making the main villain film, like the main story, and she didn't even realize it.
Yeah, it really feels like she got so invested in this villain because she didn't want him to be another forgettable villain. And good job there. He's great. Yeah. But we forgot to make Wonder Woman the focus of her own movie is what I'm a little worried about there.
And it's called Wonder Woman 1984. It's not the main plot is not Wonder Woman.
This should not have been called exactly.
It's not the decade that matters that
when
much.
You can't get the stuff in the title is not the focus of the movie. This is kind of a problem.
A little bit.
But that's kind of just what we got.
But I think there are some great moments that make up for the weird inconsistencies, but after a point, is it too much for you? It depends on if it's like this movie kind of broke Andrew a little.
It did.
I can overlook it, and you're somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I'm kind of.
I still had problems with
Pedro Pascal's character. I loved his story. I loved him.
If you like The Mandalorian, if you like Pedro Pascal in Game of Thrones, you're gonna love him in this.
I thought Cheetah was.
Kristen Wiig was good until she became Cheetah.
But honestly, that's another thing you kind of could have taken out of the film. I mean, she does some important things, but you could have replaced that with pretty much any other character.
Or even not a character that exists.
It's kind of... And I'm one of the people who likes Cheetah. A lot of people don't like Cheetah, so I was let down because I really like Cheetah.
And it's also kind of one of those things oh, poor you, cute middle-class girl has...
It's not like you were struggling financially or
like
anything.
she's like this super ugly, no, she had a good life.
I still don't get why those guys didn't think she was attractive.
Yeah. The only thing was there was a guy who assaulted her in public. That was the one thing I do feel bad for her, though. And then Diana comes and saves her. Yeah. So I would get you'd want to feel strong there.
Of course.
But, there are other ways to do it. And for sure. I don't know. It's part of it as, I guess, the price of the wish. It gave her power, but it took away all her kindness and goodness.
And then there's also this armor from...
one of the best... Asteria, I believe was the name. Yeah.
And it's this golden armor with these wings, if you've seen one of the posters you've seen.
There's this tale of Asteria. It doesn't feel shoehorned in, but it just... It
felt unnecessary.
It's another thing that could have been removed, but
it almost was worked because of the cameo.
Yes, I will say it was kind of worth it because of the cameo.
Kind of, yeah.
So they tell the tale of Asteria is a great Amazon. Every Amazon gave her some of her armor, and it formed the greatest armor of all time. And when the Amazons first fled to Themyscira, Asteria stayed behind and sacrificed herself to save them. Yeah. Actually, no, she didn't.
Apparently, she just escaped somehow.
She escaped. What's weird, though, is the legend is she sacrificed herself, and yet Diana says, I looked for her, but I couldn't. It's like, if you think she sacrificed herself, why are you looking for her?
Yeah, it was very weird.
It's kind of strange. That's another plot hole, another weird thing. It's like, I found her armor, though. Yeah. And it's like... I kind of like.
It had these cool wings, but it made me think of Hawk Girl.
It really makes you think of Hawk Girl. Also,
and then the wings just break.
It was kind of unnecessary because of two reasons. One, she can already fly. Two, she has the invisible jet at this point.
But then the wings just break as soon as she lands.
Cheetah breaks them.
They were pretty much useless, and then she just has a golden armor set, which was cool.
Yeah, the golden armor is cool enough.
But I just like her outfit.
Yeah, her regular outfit is fine.
And so the cameo is in the mid-credits scene. We actually see Asteria played by Linda Carter, the original Wonder Woman. It was really cool.
Yeah,
I was happy to see that.
It makes you smile.
I was like, you know what? I was kind of thinking in my head, is it going to be Linda Carter? Is it going to be Linda Carter? Turned around, it was Linda Carter. I was like, Linda Carter.
Yeah, it was nice to see her, and it was a nice little wink and a
And
nod.
she
to
was
like,
acting
hey.
like Wonder Woman, even though she wasn't playing Wonder Woman in this.
but
it was
I
cute.
like it when movies do that, when they like nod to the original in a good way, like in like sort of a pass the torch way.
And so I guess that's what we have to say about this film. Pedro Pascal was amazing.
Is there anything we missed? I think we kind of touched on everything.
I think we did.
Everything important.
Yeah, we touched on the opening.
This film kind of
the
just goes like
middle,
bam,
the
bam,
end,
bam,
the,
bam, bam.
the problems, the silly stuff, the over the top stuff.
Just to give my final
Action
thoughts,
is pretty good, by the way.
Oh yeah, the action is good.
Yeah, just to give my final thoughts. I think overall the action was really great. I would say that I like the middle of the movie the most, which is very rare. Either it's like you like the first half or the second half, but I feel like the middle was the best part.
Yeah, the middle was.
Yeah,
More
I agree with
specifically,
you.
right after the mall scene, right after that, and then
After the mall and before the cloud.
yes, right after she said goodbye to Steve Roger. After that, I was like, okay, this is getting stupid.
Before the
little bit.
lassoing the plane.
Before
Lassoing the
lassoing
plane
the
was the beginning of the end. It
yeah,
was
so
like,
that middle
no.
section was actually really great to
It
me,
was
and
the
it makes
best
up
part
for
of
a
the
lot
film.
I think all of
the-
us at the same time were like, no.
Yeah, when she lassoed the plane, we were like, no.
Yeah,
No.
That's
Yeah.
clouds are not.
You're
objects,
breaking
they're-
reality. It's in a movie that's literally about breaking reality.
bit much.
You broke it too much.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And yeah, there were some really great action movie shots.
There was some really great action. There wasn't enough of it.
Yeah.
But then again, there was probably just as much as in the first film. It's just
Maybe.
the first film I enjoyed from beginning to almost end.
Yeah.
There were some parts with the Ares fight I didn't
Here's
like
my
too much.
one warning about the action. There are like 3 to 5 times where it looks a little fake.
Yeah, the effects.
Or
There's
they-
some weird shots.
Yeah, like that
There's
weird
a scene where
slow-mo-
she's running right at the camera. It looks really off. I don't know what
looks
Yeah, they
kind of
slowed
like-
it down too. She's like,
And she's got kind of a, if I remember correctly, kind of a blank expression.
Kind of, but maybe that's just because she had to run really fast. And the actress was
Maybe.
trying to
I don't know.
focus.
It looked really green screened in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah,
It
it
didn't
was-
look right.
but most
But
of it
then
is
after
good. Like I
that,
said,
after that, it picks up, like
It's
where she
not-
starts I like the part where she jumps onto a truck, rips the steering wheel out, and tells the guy the brakes still work. I was like, I love that. That's great.
Yeah. And I really liked the White House fight scene. I thought that was really
Yeah,
good.
that was good. I love that
That
part
was
with
really
the
great.
bullet hitting
Yes.
it, breaking
Well,
a priceless antique.
I mean, that was in the trailer, but yeah.
Yeah, I forgot
was
about
good.
that scene, so I still enjoyed it. In the
Yeah, it's
I love
still-
what you flipping the lasso so much that it's like a shield, and then pow pow
Yeah.
hitting
And
guys.
she was
Really
Gal
great.
Gadot was great in that scene.
Gal
Talking about the price you pay for
Gadot
the-
is a very good Wonder Woman.
She's
When
great.
she was originally cast, I was like, I don't know, and then I saw the
I
movie,
think that's how
and then
everyone
I saw
felt.
Batman v Superman. I was like, you know what, good job. Then I saw Wonder Woman the movie. I was like, great, you're a good Wonder Woman.
It's
I
kind of
liked
like
it.
how everyone felt about Heath Ledger. Like they don't want to admit now that maybe they didn't think he would be a good choice for the Joker.
Well, I just didn't know.
He's
down.
like one of
And
my
now it's
favorite
like,
Jokers. Like him and Mark Hamill are the two best
Yeah.
in my opinion. I know a lot of people are saying Joaquin is the best Joker. I think Joaquin is great, but he's not how I envision the Joker.
Yeah.
But for what he is, he did a perfect
Fantastic
job.
Yeah.
Like for what they were trying to do, he
Yeah,
did a
it was-
perfect job.
But that's a whole other
Yes,
film for a whole
that's a
other
whole
time.
nother like topic.
Yeah.
But yeah, like no disrespect to Gal Gadot. I think she's a great Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Patty Jenkins, I think you direct well. I think you wrote the villain very well in this, but I feel like you
Yeah.
didn't really know exactly
Yeah.
what you wanted to do here. So I really like you, but I feel like you made a little bit of a mess.
I hope whatever you do with Star Wars is going to be good.
Oh yeah, you're doing Star Wars.
yeah.
Hopefully you do that really well. I believe you have
Yeah.
the
And
power to do it.
if I'm wrong about her doing something with Star Wars, you can tell me in the comments. But I'm pretty sure I heard something about that.
I've heard that too. I don't know if it's writing or directing.
I think she's going to be directing something.
Then I'm more hopeful.
Yeah, she directed this film great. It like you said, it's not that it's written poorly.
Aside from like a couple
just
weird
confusing.
shots.
Yeah, it just feels like she didn't know what she wanted to focus on, and
Yeah.
that might have been Warner
I
Brothers.
think there was just too much she wanted to do.
I think so
yeah.
too.
Or maybe it was Warner Brothers. Maybe they said no, we need this and this too.
Maybe.
And so then she was like, all right, I'll try to slip it in there.
And it wasn't like Spider-Man 3 like too much going on, but there was a little too much like
Yeah.
again, they should know.
We honestly,
You know,
we honestly didn't need.
I wouldn't
that
be surprised
beginning
if
scene
Warner
with
Brothers
Themyscira.
made them set it in the 80s.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
either.
maybe.
They're like, if people love the 80s, put it in the 80s.
She's like, but why?
We're literally going to title it Wonder Woman 84.
Why 84? I don't
missed,
know.
where was numbers 2 through 83?
Yeah. Anyway, but that's our thoughts.
Yeah, that's pretty much our thoughts.
If you want to
Mixed
see,
bag for me, but I
if you
liked
haven't
it
seen it yet,
enough.
I suggest at least getting some friends together to watch it.
Yeah.
But if you really didn't want to watch it from the trailers, don't watch it.
If you're ready, this is very much, you gotta, I want to say you gotta turn your brain off for this film, but the parts with Pedro Pascal are actually very entertaining for your brain during this film.
I like
because of his cleverness and how he handles it. That's stuff where you need your brain on.
Literally
and also I say turn your brain off, but we had to spend so much of this movie going maybe we had to use our goddamn brains.
Yeah, trying to explain things.
This movie broke me a little.
So we're gonna go put Mythology Guy back in his vault.
I hope you enjoyed this. This was the Mythology Guy, Zaggard and Claire talking about Wonder Woman 80.
Yeah. Liked it.
Have a good night.
Yeah, have a good night.
Have a good time. Bye.
Bye.
Hey everyone, Zaggard again. Just wanted to ask you what you thought of Wonder Woman 84. Any opinions you have, we would really like to read them in the comments down below. Also, if you liked the video, please click that like button and subscribe to stay up to date on all our future videos and streams. I hope you liked the video, and we'll see you in the next one.